Black Magic Woman podcast acknowledges the traditional owners of the land we have recorded this episode on. We also acknowledge traditional owners of the land where you, the listener or viewer, are tuning in from. We would like to pay our respects to our elders past and present and acknowledge that this always was Aboriginal land and always will be Aboriginal land.
This episode is proudly brought to you by ANZ, a new series of conversations with different mob around the country to yarn about meaningful career opportunities within ANZ, building the capacity of Indigenous businesses and organisations, and helping individuals in the broader community to achieve financial well-being and resilience.
Welcome to the Black Magic Woman podcast with Mundanara Bales.
Welcome back to another episode of the Black Magic Woman podcast. I am on the beautiful lands of the Kabi Kabi peoples here on the Sunshine Coast. And I'm doing one of the very last episodes as part of the ANZ Partnership Series, where I have the privilege to yarn with different First Nations peoples from across the country to talk about either their experiences as a customer of ANZ Bank, but also talking to people within the business about opportunities when it comes to employment, education and other career pathways, which basically come back to ANZ's commitment with their Reconciliation Action Plan. Today, this actually has been a yarn, long time in the making. I was trying my hardest to get over to Whadjuk Noongar country, at least to get to Perth, for those that don't know where Whadjuk Noongar country is, to see if I could line up this yarn and do it in person, which is always better. But here I am on the east coast of Australia, yarning with brother Garry Jaffrey, who's joining me from the west coast of Australia. So, my brother, I'm going to hand it over to you to introduce yourself to our listeners and also our viewers on YouTube. You want to share a little bit about who you are, your mob, and even a little bit about where you grew up?
Yeah, no, thanks, Kurtarra. My name's Garry Jaffrey. I'm a director for Kurtarra, which is our 100% Indigenously owned business. We do have partnerships as to the business, one of them being on my shirt, KCU, another one, Mara, and another one called IMS, that enable me to sort of work collectively in the industry in what I do to try and move forward from, I suppose, building pathways across not only WA but hopefully across Australia and then maybe going international. So I'm from the Pilbara. I'm a Pilbara boy. Wife from the Kimberleys. She's a Kimberley girl. She's a New girl at that. Between us both, I think, we've got a lot of family across WA. So growing up in Hedland, I mean, back in them days, there was no, mining such as what we have today, which is pretty much the capital of mining in the world. And, it was just following the old donkey cart, camel trails through the bush. So it was just everything was hot. Nothing was easy. Always knocking over, the bush tucker, kangaroo and whatever we needed to do. And we used to do a little bit of prospecting. So Mum, being a full-blood Aboriginal woman, my father is a Wajbara, white man, had walked both worlds. And so, in the prospecting side of it, I used to sit down the creek there with Mum. She'd do the yanding. And the old boy, he was good at, prospecting, doing putting the dirt through the drive line. Yeah, for me, I think building pathways, I'm still probably that 0.1 of 1% of Indigenous people that live out in the bush for the last 30-odd years. I built an outstation just out of Broome up towards the Darby Peninsula, next to a community called Beagle Bay. So our little outstation is called Binduk, and that's where the vision and it all started, with trying to get some hope, some support back to the community. And not only that, for my people, Palkyu people up in the Nullagine area and region, of Western Australia, so that Pilbara region. So how was I able to do that? Well, I'll tell you what, it was really hard starting off hitchhiking to work, for starters. Used to be on $120 a week. Me and my wife, 6 kids, used to, try to get the community, I suppose, infrastructure started so that we've got a home. And obviously it first started with bringing the kids up in the Pilbara or the Kimberleys. So being saltwater girl she is, and the family of hers, she wanted to stay close to the family. I honoured that agreement with her, and I had to learn the saltwater cultural ways and all that hunting and stuff from my ways, which is freshwater ways, and been up there ever since. And now I run autonomous across WA, live on an aeroplane half the time, and it's just the corporate world in Perth, which is obviously got all the companies, whether it's mining to government or whatever it may be, that I have to catch up with. So it's been a long journey, a heavy-hearted one at that, and I think this story is a real hard story to actually to even begin with, to think of an outstation from an outstation perspective, 150 k's out of town, and building off the that type of foundation. To get that type of support took me the best of 15 to 20 years, but here we are today, and it's all going ahead. All the companies have done their own due diligence and hard yards. They haven't learnt on each other. So in the industry, there's been there's been the ups and there's also been the downs. But I think today, there's from what I've always done is played the snail race, and trying to put the logic back into the common sense, just so that Indigenous people have got an opportunity as to non-Indigenous people coming together on the forefront and working together in today's day and age and doing that safely. So, helping to bring, I suppose, my family out of that poverty and put food on the table, so to speak, was a really hard journey getting to this point.
Garry, I'm keen to hear about Kurtarra. It means 4 brothers.
Yeah, it's more than 2 brothers, that's right. So we've got the 3 now. I'm the youngest, the baby one of them all, the managing director. I've been with this vision helping out, over the years, and I thought, by helping the family from the initial startup, made a lot of sense to me because, you're trying to go through, I suppose, your traditional owner group. Sometimes they have, benefits or trusts or funds or what may be there. But just to start on getting some support in as well. So for us, the idea came as to me sitting out on that outstation basically and, thinking, well, how do I get help to this outstation? And for people to come and, to find the funds and all the rest of it. When you're playing the waiting game with the state or federal, whatever funding that may be, and people to actually come out, contractors to come out if there is. So in the early days, it was very difficult. But, it's one of those challenges, I suppose. It's where we're at today, or back then, that we're closing the gap on today, if you want to use the word closing the gap. Trying to build that outstation up. So, that's where the vision came from as to the Kurtarra. So, with just trying to provide support to the whole family and not just us. I think to the outstation, but also to the wider community, the region, and then obviously the wider region. And it's kind of snowball affected and gone across WA now. So there's, it's exciting, to be very honest.
Deadly. And it's exciting to hear your relationship and your journey with ANZ Bank. in particular, the contractor purchase program to be able to purchase those 9, was it tractors or vehicles for the business?
So it was 3 loaders and 3 excavators, water cart and a roller. The ANZ family have been absolutely phenomenal in this space in supporting us with this facility loan. And I'm very grateful that we're able to get those machines working as well, with the Fortescue family coming together for that agreement. To be able to put that in place and to run with it is absolutely a dream come true, because it's, living out of the bush for many years and probably living a hard life as well. I think the little things mean the most to you. But for this to happen, it was just a big moment, and it gave us, a huge opportunity to move not only the businesses forward, but to connect wider into the, to the regions as well, to expand that relationship with the wider communities. And today we're slowly building on, content as well and capabilities. Things have gone, a bit diverse in that space as well. So look at our different opportunities, but always there to support Indigenous people and workplace moving forward, that's for sure.
I know that a lot of our mob will be listening to this episode in particular. There are a lot of our people that are, looking at starting a business. What would some advice or some of the lessons that you've learnt in setting up this business, or just even this kind of growth that you've had, like what's some of the lessons you could share with some of our listeners?
Well, you've got to have the vision and you've got to be committed. And, for me, a lot of it was around passion. So I didn't have anybody to walk me through on how to do the business. I kind of put myself in the deep end and put myself out there by building a back office and financials and understanding how the admin worked and that whole function right through to where the projects started to begin, and getting a contract. And the relationships are the most important things to have on board and to keep on board moving forward, because those relationships will support you in your growth moving forward over your time or period. And on top of that, I think just for me, it's I started off just putting an articles association together, which was, I think, formed from, or before that was an MOU, Articles Association, then went into a JV, which took out a lot of stress and a lot of the parcels of work that I was trying to pursue, because I'm not so good on computers and that. But then having a partnership in place will enable me to learn and have people there to support, to give me that understanding. So growing from that space was really important, to having no knowledge at all from the very start. And then walking forward with that conversation, I think building the other businesses to work collectively together, so that the operation of it all gives that one company, Kurtarra, the opportunity to support other companies as well, and our people, our Aboriginal people, to be able to, provide, the workplace, a safe workplace to work in. But it comes down to, the mentoring and the values in there as well. Having that buddy system is, detrimental to me. And most important thing is having the mental health flowing from the top right through the organisation of these companies for each and every one of us. And I'm always thanking not only the employee, but also their families for having them, allowing them to come and work with us and for us out in the bush, wherever it may be, for that time period. And they're extended, I suppose, different, work rosters at times. But it's the journey's been quite a unique journey from the very start. So I think from getting it up off the ground, it's about making the decision, being committed, having the passion to do it, and going for it. And if you've got goals, I always had 1,000 goals that I wanted to tick off along the way. And, I'm probably up to about 660 something at the moment. So there's plenty more to go. But in saying that, it gets really hard because at times, you may win a parcel work, which is, may only be a couple of months. Saving that money to be able to, keep you going for the next couple of months, to be able to put that food on the table for yourself and the family, and to make roads meet. But then, continuing, that passion for, and trying to challenge and deliver on those contracts as well, and building those relationships helps you in the long run. So through it all, it's just being consistent, passionate, and just sticking with what you feel that is right. And if you need help, then the most important thing is to put the right people around you as well. So good people around you with the right knowledge, within business developing, and all the above. And it all comes together once you do structure that org chart, which is your team, and getting that right. And that's where you'll start seeing some real progress happen.
Deadly. I was going to ask you before we wrap up the yarn, was there any other support services that ANZ provided that were of benefit to you, that you found valuable?
I think just with ANZ in the lead up to the conversation around the loans and support, just the assistance, that type of brother sisterhood that they gave me was second to none. And I really appreciated that from the bottom of my heart, to be very honest. And, when you've got that type of relationship at hand, it certainly does help. It took a long time to get to this stage, but obviously the ANZ family have been nothing short of, supportive and helpful in this space. I can pick up the phone any minute of the day and have a chat with these guys. They're there for me with whatever questions I have to bounce the ball off the wall. They'll get behind me and they'll definitely help me work out the next step as well. So.
And that's what you need, especially when it comes to a bank and choosing the right bank. You need to be able to have that relationship and know that they understand, especially black fellas, to be able to understand what it's like for an Indigenous person or an Aboriginal person living out on country 150 kilometres out of town, setting up that outstation. And like you said, this happened over 20 years for you to get to where you are. It is a story I have never heard before, and I know that even myself, I feel so inspired listening to this yarn, just thinking if you fellas can do it out there in what Kimberley's? Is it Kimberley's or Pilbara? The Pilbara country.
Yeah, Kimberley's. I'm in my wife's country up there in Beagle Bay side, Union country.
Yep. Like if you fellas can do it, it gives a lot of hope to a lot of other mob around the country that their location or where they're living on country or being in remote communities shouldn't be a barrier for them to be able to do what they love, whether it's looking after country, whether it's going into a joint venture or starting their own little business, wherever they are.
That's correct. That's right. And it comes down to being committed and, to yourself, to your vision, to your passion, and being passionate about it. If you really want it, my advice is to chase it, to be committed to that vision that you have, that passion about whatever the business that you're thinking, a model of what you're doing. Go about, asking the questions around the community and finding out, who the people may be and trying to direct you in the right way. Just follow your heart, follow your mind, try and put both together and have that equilibrium going. And and if you can get, if I can do it, which is a really hard story, anybody can do it, that's for sure.
What a way to wrap up this yarn, just to leave people with some hope. If you can do it, anyone can do it. But it's also about finding the right people. So I'll make sure in our show notes today we'll have some websites and also maybe even a contact number to contact the Indigenous Business Bankers team at ANZ, and hopefully, take that first step. That's what I find with a lot of our mob is they just don't know, who to talk to. And in this case, especially with this amazing opportunity to talk about some of the Indigenous businesses that bank with ANZ, sharing your story to my listeners, I'm really hoping that more of our mob either pick up the phone or get online and start thinking about what their next steps are. So my brother Garry, thank you so much for making this happen, taking the time out of your busy schedule to share the deadly work that you've been doing with your brothers in your community. And I hope I get to meet you when I'm over there on the West Coast in the new year.
Yeah, that would be fabulous. And Mandinara, absolutely a pleasure talking to you today. I know you're over in the Sunshine Coast there, and is it Cubby Country?
Cubby,
yeah.
Yep.
Cubby Country, solid again. And for all the listeners, look, thank you for everything that you guys do for our people as well. And, there's always hope, for the road forward in doing business. So I, inspire you guys to, get out there and do what you feel that you're passionate about doing. And, if you feel passionate, and, I think one of my cues is always keep the logic and the common sense while you're doing it.
Too
Be
deadly.
committed.
Too deadly. Well, on that note, Uncle, thank you very much. I went from brother to uncle now, all this wisdom. Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mandinara.
If you'd like to know more about how ANZ can help improve your financial well-being or help you start, run or grow your business, visit anz.com or call 131314.
A big shout out to all you Deadly Mob and allies who continue to listen, watch and support our podcast. Your feedback means the world. You can rate and review the podcast on Apple and Spotify, or even head to our socials and YouTube channel and drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. The Black Magic Woman podcast is produced by Clint Curtis.